I've been grinding and grinding away on the Subaru build in order to get it ready for Dyno Day, which is coming up very, very shortly. We have the new fully built engine, we have the intercooler, we have the bigger turbo. One thing that we do not have yet on this car is a bigger fuel system. Now, before we pull this car in the shop and upgrade the entire fuel system on the car to make at least 400 wheel horsepower, I gotta let you know there's only 5 days left to get entered in on the WRX giveaway. If you want your shot at taking this thing home, head to the website. Every $3 you spend is one entry to take home the car. To achieve a 400 wheel horsepower fuel system on this car is gonna be very, very simple to do. Very basic, bigger injectors, bigger fuel pump, and that's it. Once you go crazy with your horsepower goals, say 700 to 800 wheel horsepower, you usually need to go from one pump to two pumps, a new fuel hanger, all new fuel lines throughout from the pump, from the fuel tank, all the way to the fuel rails. You'll need bigger fuel rails. Sometimes you even have to double up on injectors, go from 4 injectors to 8 injectors. Of course, a bigger regulator. The system gets very, very complicated once you start making a ton of power. But being that we're only trying to make 450, 400 wheel, a set of ID 1050Xs and an AEM 340 LPH pump should be all that we need for that goal. Now, I know there's gonna be people asking and wondering why I didn't do this when the intake manifold was already off. As far as the injectors go, injectors are very, very easy to swap out while they're in the car, for starters. Second of all, I wanted to make sure everything was good to go before we start swapping out a ton of parts, especially fuel system stuff. If I swapped out the injectors earlier before the first start and the first drive and the car was having issues, it'd be harder to pinpoint what's going on, being that we swapped out so many parts. Now that I know everything's good to go, if I go swap out injectors now and we run into an issue, well, I know it's the injectors. So let's get those swapped out. If we take a peek right down in here, there's 2 bolts holding the fuel rail to the TGV housings. That bolt right there, that bolt right there. Pull those 2 bolts off and the rail will be loose enough to pull out the injectors. Injector number 1, injector number 2, injector number 3, injector number 4. So here are the factory injectors. Quick Google search tells me that these are a 380cc injector from the factory. These guys are 1050s, which are going to be plenty for what we're doing. You can go too big of an injector as well. Say if we slapped in some 2200s, which are way, way overkill, you're gonna run into drivability issues. The smaller, typically the better for drivability. And make sure you go with a solid brand as well. Can never go wrong with some IDs. Now here's the problem. I messed up when ordering. I did not order the plug and play adapters. I'm gonna have to go through and swap out all of the OEM connectors to the ID connectors, which is gonna add like an hour of time. Make sure you order plug and play adapters. Much, much easier. If you have the right tools, that's really not that bad. Each connector was maybe 3 minutes to swap out. You could argue that this is the right way to do it. With the plug and play adapter, you have one more connection that could get loose, causing you a misfire or an engine failure. Let's get these seals lubed up, slid into the rail, slid into the TGV housings, get everything bolted down, and we are done with the injector swap. Injectors are done. Everything's clipped in, everything's wired in, bolted back down. Before we move to the fuel pump, I'm gonna prime the system, make sure we don't have any leaks. All right, all good to go. Let's go ahead, pull out the rear seat and swap out the fuel pump. You guys see what I see? She already has the pump I was going to install, an AEM 340 LPH. I bought a new one, but there's no sense. This one's perfect. Let's reassemble. Fuel system is now complete. One last thing before we reflash the car with its new base map, aka put the new tune on the car, is a map sensor. So the factory map sensor is around a 2-bar. We're going to be going to a 4-bar, which if you're trying to make any sort of power, you definitely need to upgrade your map sensor. This is the Cobb kit, plug and play. It just broke inside the throttle body. Sick. Four bar is installed. Let's get it reflashed and make sure it still runs. Everything under the hood of the car is ready for the dyno. I would really like to get an STI 6-speed in the car before the dyno day. If that doesn't happen, no big deal. But one thing that we do need before dyno day is this. A full set of gauges for the car. We got a boosty, oil pressure, and of course, wideband. Every built car, you need to be able to monitor what's going on with the engine. Wideband is essential for tuning. Oil pressure, obviously essential to make sure you got oil pressure. And boost, well, it's just a fun gauge to look at. And if your car feels slow, well, you look at the boost gauge. If it says anything less than like 20 PSI, your car is slow. I also bought an A-pillar pod to mount all those gauges from Auto Meter. Here are all of the parts that we need to go ahead and install. Here's the pillar pod. Gauges will sit right up in there. I'll go wideband, boost, oil pressure. The first step in this process is to go ahead and get these sensors installed. Oil pressure is going to go in the factory center location. Boost, that's very easy. We'll just pull a line right off the intake manifold. And the wideband will go in the downpipe. Let's do oil pressure first because it's the most difficult. We got to pull the alternator in order to get to that sender location. The oil pressure gauge is mounted. Now that factory sender thread, I believe it's a BPST, where the AEM is a NPT. I'm sure I could have crammed it in and made it work, but I decided to do it right. Pull it, tap it, reinstall, install the sensor, we're good to go. Now the easiest place to run the wiring from the engine bay into the cabin is going to be through this guy right here. So let's get that pulled off, and I'll go ahead and mount the boost sensor somewhere in that general area as well. I lied. Do not try to go in that location. The newer STI is the 15 Plus. I know there's a hole back there. This car, 02 to 07, there is not. A much better spot is right under the brake booster. If you take a peek back there, there's a grommet you can remove, cut a slot in it, pass your wiring through, and you're done. Let's move forward and get all the gauges mounted up on the pillar pod, which is gonna sit very nicely right there on the A-pillar. So here's all the wiring that connects to the back of the gauges. I still need to wire in the power and ground so the gauges actually turn on. But before that, let's get them actually mounted on here. Making some solid progress. Those fit nicely up on the pillar. Now we need to go ahead and wire all this in, so the power and ground. Then all of these will power on. From there, all I'll need to do is connect the wideband sensor in the exhaust. Got to get the car on the lift for that, and all of our gauges will be working. Last piece to install, and we can see if the gauges work. So this guy is going to sit in the OEM and the factory rear O2 sensor location. We no longer need that, which is on the downpipe right there. All right, it is time to make sure everything works. All the sensors are in, everything is wired in to the fuse panel, the gauges are on, so we wired them properly. Let's make sure the sensors work. We got oil pressure, we got boost, and will we have a wideband? There we go, we have a wideband. Look at that, my friends. All new gauges in the build, match perfectly with the new STI cluster we installed. That is a killer looking cockpit. This thing is pretty much ready for the dyno. I did mention earlier, I really wanted to get an STI 6-speed in the car before we hit the dyno. That would be ideal. If not, no big deal. Let's just hope we don't blow up the current 5-speed on the dyno. Before I call this a wrap, this piece I took off earlier is rank, for lack of a better term. So let's get this fixed. You already know what I'm gonna use. Cerakote trim coat. Get her cleaned up with some IPA first. So let's grime and dirt off of here. If it just stayed looking like that, that'd be great. Which it will when we're done. Watch the magic happen. Ready for this? Now I know right now it doesn't look that nice, but wait till it is dry and then make your call. Remember how it looked before? Here's how it looks now. Ain't nothing like it. If you want some, I'll link it down below on Amazon for only a couple bucks. That right there is too clean, man. Well, friends, that is going to be a wrap on the day. All the gauges and all the fuel system components that we installed today, I'll go ahead and link down in the description box below. Remember, 5 days left till one of you guys takes this car home. If you want to get entered, hit the site, $3 spent, 1 entry. The car will be shipped right to your front door or to your garage for completely free of charge.